I'd like to thank that gentleman for his remarks, and now invite Molly to continue the case for the opposition.
Anyone who's ever been told by their parents to keep kosher, to put up a Christmas tree, to go to Mass, to go to Mecca, has a personal missionary in their family, whether we ban missionizing or not. What the proposition is basically proposing is that we have everyone's default religion what they follow, and they haven't showed us why this default religion is any less conflictual than missionaries. We believe it is even more conflictual. I'm going to talk to you about 2 points, or one basic issue. I'm going to talk to you about the opium of the masses and why we need this opium. I'm going to talk to you about why death and the universe is scary, why religion makes us less scared, and why missionizing helps us all be less scared and find direction and make the world a better place. But first, I'm going to quickly refute some of the things we've heard. We heard this idea that there's discrimination against resources. Now, I've already told you there's a number of other discrimination that would exist if these resources can't be put to use. People that are really loud will be able to persuade more people to follow their religion if you don't have institutionalized missionary. People that have lots and lots of babies will make their religion a lot larger compared to missionizing. No thank you. And people that happen to have a religion that by chance the default people born to believe has a particular level of discrimination. So money is just another aspect that can counteract the discrimination that the benefits that religions have that happen to be having members of lots of kids or really loud members. We also heard this idea that if it becomes entrenched, then it will marginalize other groups. Well, you could say the same thing sort of about Coca-Cola, that they're a huge company, that they marginalize other brands, but they don't, because other brands have better forms of Coke. And we think that missionizing can encourage people to talk about better forms of religion by competing against the ideas. And we also think it was ridiculous that they said that the choice, no thank you, was horrible, that if someone's starving and they go to a church and they're going to have to sort of sell their souls in order to get food. We have a number of answers for that. First of all, you can just lie and say you love Jesus and no, take the food, and there we go, no thank you. But we don't want people to be pressured to lie, right? So we have 2 other answers. First, we think you do have a particular level of freedom of contract. So if you present yourself in a church, pretending to kind of be representing the church, not necessarily saying it out loud, but looking like you're a member, just to get for food, that's not that different than a celebrity going on television saying they really like Nike. Tiger Woods does it all the time. He's simply getting something in return for pretending to be supportive of a particular company. And even most important, if someone really is in a situation that they in which they don't have access to food, we think it would be absolutely important not to let them say, I believe in this particular religion in return for food. And we've heard a few other things. Thank you just to respond to issues of the black market, how it's too classic. We have another answer why it's not classic and even more relevant in the issue of religion. First of all, unlike other bad things, no thank you, some missionaries are a little less terrible. So if you print it on the open, then the particular more liberal missionary that can persuade the masses will be more effective, whereas the logical sort of violent one that people tend to be disgusted by, which is what happens when missionaries come out of the closet. And also the situation, why is incitement just made illegal in the VN? You can say the same thing about incitement. All incitement is bad. Some religion is good. If we believe some religion needs less incitement, then they should all be competing against each other. We also heard this issue that you can't focus on current members. That's ridiculous. If you increase your membership by 300%, and if you invest 80% of your members in conversion, you still have a total amount of people that are focusing on non-conversion compared to now. So it's really a cost-effective issue. That really pisses me off. It's like whenever they complain about, oh, this NGO is focusing 90% of the resources on fundraising. Yes, but they're making millions of dollars at 98%. No, thank you. And this issue of conflictually grabbing souls. Like, yeah, you say think about stores grab people's customers from each other, but sometimes they work together because it makes the stores look nicer. And why? What happens when stores look nicer? They end up getting more customers. So there's strategies to be nice to other religions in order to get more of those souls. Going back to my construction points. Death is scary. It is like really scary. You have absolutely no idea what will happen to you afterwards. And it's really depressing if you think about it. You have no idea what will happen to you afterwards. What does this mean? It's distracting you, and it's confusing, and there's no direction. One of the basic reasons that human beings manage to survive until now is because they managed to find direction by envisioning an intentional agent, no thank you, out there. And this intentional agent often came in the form of religion. Because you give you an idea that no longer is distraction, that you give you an idea that's distracting, and it makes you relatively happier. Missionaries are basically doing 2 things. A, they're either giving you another option for a belief in an intentional agent. So as we already told you, you already believe in some sort of agent out there, whether that agent is atheism and the laws of physics and chemistry, or that agency is a god that decides what is right and wrong. You already have a default of some sort of belief in an agency, and otherwise you're absolutely insane about the universe. What missionaries are doing is seeing here are your options, the type of agency you're believing, and they're also not creating a belief in religion that you didn't already have by default before you, by your friends, by your families, by your genes. Yes, please. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, surely what a missionary is much more likely to do is undermine your faith that you're praying to the right God.
Okay, so great. So we either believe in one God that believes in one thing or another God that believes in another. Who cares? It's okay if you have conflicts about which direction you go in. The problem is when you have no direction at all. Because if the conflict in your head is whether or not you're going to go to hell as a result of taking this particular action, or go to hell as a result of taking these actions, or having no hell at all like in Judaism, then at the end of the day, you're still going to be able to say, well, what are the benefits of this direction versus the no thank you, or the benefits of this direction. You're going to have some sort of logical scale of weighing. If you have no direction at all, then you have no concentration at all. The point is here I'm making isn't that people shouldn't have no direction. The point is that everyone by default, by their genome, automatically has some sort of direction in their intentional agency. We're just giving them other options of what sort of agency they follow. And at the end of the day, we believe missionaries have the right to do this. We also believe it gives some sort of benefit to society, and we believe people already have the default as it is. So no thank you. So what have I told you today? I told you a number of things. I told you that at the end of the day, this isn't just sort of a classic black market argument. It's an issue of very good religions, very bad religions, all being able to go above ground and fully persuade one another. I told you that religions often are encouraged to work together because they want to look like they're good in front of potential customers, and therefore missionizing actually makes religion a little bit less conflictual. I told you that there isn't really an issue of resources. Another answer to the resource issue that I forgot to say was that if you don't have missionizing, then you can build a really big church with the money you have. If you dualize missionizing, then you could just find really loud, persuasive members. We believe the current status quo, you don't allow missionizing, encourages religions to become even more dominant because only the ones that have enough money to show off without saying they're showing off that loud are the ones that end up getting ahead. But I've told you other things too. I've told you that it won't lead to marginalization, because at the end of the day it can lead to an increase in competition, because missionizing isn't only about money. And I've told you that even if you think people are forced into a particular choice with food versus joining the church, either A, they really need the food, in which they should get it, B, they do have a certain level of freedom of contract, and C, they can simply sort of lie. And because death is scary and you need some sort of direction, people are born with this direction as default, missionaries should be able to continue to function.